Well, today's topic is Julie mango. Julie is just a crazy popular fruit, and what's really nice is that the tree is dwarf. Usually the tree is grafted very close to the ground and you get a very short, bushy tree. I decided to try something different, and this was a few years back. I did some high grafted Julie trees, and so behind me, these are high grafted Julie trees. A few years back, I offered them for sale, but nobody wanted them. They were about this tall and very few branches. Once they got into the ground, they just started doing great. And they filled out, and all of them look like sort of a classic tree, except for small, and all of them are rather productive. So not only are they nice to look at when they don't have fruit, but then when they do have fruit, the fruit's really easy to pick. So these are actually quite a bit different from our original Julie tree in the grove. So I wanted to show you that one. So here is our original Julie tree, and this one I planted in 1999. It was just a rather small 3-gallon tree because Julies just are small. So after all that time, this is as big as it has gotten. All of the trees around it are smallish because we trim them every year. With Julie, we only trim like dead or pathetic looking branches off of it. And so there are a few more that I could trim. So this is it. It's just a very wide tree. It's wider than it is tall. If you planted a Julie tree more than 20 years ago, yours might be looking different from this because, of course, conditions are fairly harsh out in the grove. And this tree definitely struggled for many years. It has produced fruit for a lot of years, and it is generally healthy, but it's not like the specimen that the people who are promoting Julie mango trees would show. It is, out of all the Julie that we grow in the grove, this is the worst looking. Not only do I have the tall Julies that we just looked at, but I also top work Julie onto bigger trees. I have several branches of Julie that are now part of our big Hayden trees. Those look great. And I also dedicated a seedling tree that was rather significant to Julie, and that looks great too. This tree that's the oldest and is around a lot of great looking mango trees is our worst specimen. But it does show that Julie has a tendency to grow wide and not tall. A lot of times people will grow Julie over many years and it will end up looking like a decent, traditional tree because they're trimming off the bottom limbs in a lot of cases. But this one, it's looking green. There's not too much, dead wood that I need to take out. And so we're hoping for mangoes from this tree, but especially from all of our other Julie in the grove. So one of the takeaways from our Julie discussion here is that not only does Julie look very different in different situations, but that you can use grafting as a technique to produce a different kind of tree. Of course, you can put multiple varieties on the same tree, but you can also take a very vigorous rootstock and put a dwarfing variety on it and get a much smaller tree, very bushy tree, where there once possibly was a very tall tree. So Julie's a great mango variety. It's very popular, and you can grow it in a lot of ways, and they all taste delicious. But beyond the taste of the fruit, you can also work with the different characteristics of the tree itself. And so if you want a small tree, you just have a small space for a tree. Julie might be the one. If you want a bigger tree or one that starts higher up, then a tall grafted Julie might work out well for your situation. So don't just look at a tree that is in someone else's yard or a picture on the internet and say, that's not going to work for me, because some of those characteristics might actually be able to be applied to your situation, and you'll actually have a great tree as a result.